On3sports.com or on3.com. On3 Sports is where you'll find Chad Simmons and the crew burning through national signing today. He's day with us. He's on the Pepsi hotline. Welcome in, Chad. Hope you're doing well today.
Definitely hanging in there, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. Right now, I look at on3.com, Texas A&M, Georgia, Alabama, your top three. Will they remain the top three, and how much upward mobility do Georgia and Alabama have as far as catching A&M?
Yeah, I do think that they'll remain, the top three. I don't think Ohio State, or even as hot as Texas is today, can catch those three. I'm not sure exactly what order by the end of the day those three schools' SEC programs will be in. But I think really in the end, whether it's today, Friday, or even in February, I think Texas A&M is in the best position to finish with the number one class in the country.
Who is the biggest undecided guy that will announce today?
Well, for us, number one player in the country is Marvin Jones Jr., obviously a Florida State legacy. And I think what makes him so intriguing, too, is people don't know, where he's going to end up. He's played things from the beginning extremely close to the vest. His family, a very tight circle, really the only ones that really know and have been deeply involved. His head coach is Patrick Surtain, who played in the NFL. And, I talked to him almost every day for the last 2 weeks, and nobody has a great read. The most buzz right now is definitely coming out of Athens. The University of Georgia had the last visit. Of course, being an FSU legacy, that's probably been my gut feel where he would end up over the last couple of months. And you got Alabama and USC, heavily involved as well. He announces around 4:40, 4:45 this afternoon. And right now I'm probably giving Georgia the edge with FSU a close second. But it's really still anybody's guess for Marvin Jones Jr.
Chad, I'm interested which coaching move, and we had some monumental ones, which one impacted this recruiting class the most? And it could be just losing to a Texas or something like that. Which move changed the landscape the most?
For me, it's hands down USC with Lincoln Riley. That group, what was falling apart as far as recruiting this cycle, and even looking ahead to next cycle. I mean, he had some of the best in California in 2022 and 2023, either already committed to Oklahoma. And as soon as he went to USC, he flipped those guys back to USC within days of taking that job. Now he's likely to close out with five-star Damani Jackson, who was likely headed to Alabama about a month ago. He's going to probably get Zion Branch, who was going to Ohio State about 2 weeks ago. I think that's, for me, that is really not even close for me. I think potentially, Mario Cristobal could have that type of impact, at Miami down the road. But, immediately the instant impact is definitely, for me, Lincoln Riley and USC.
Chad Simmons is with us. You can follow him on Twitter at Chad Simmons _ at Chad Simmons _ He's the national recruiting director for On3 Sports, on3.com. That's on3.com. He's with us on the Pepsi hotline. On Alabama's signing class, according to your service, they've got the 3 5-stars in Emmanuel Henderson, Ty Simpson, the quarterback, and Jeremiah Alexander, the Thompson product from just down the road here. Give me a guy, though, in this signing class that you guys may not have put as a 5-star, but you think has 5-star potential. Maybe a late bloomer, maybe a guy that you're like, just keep an eye on this guy. You'll love him if you're an Alabama fan.
I guess I could cheat a little bit. Who's basically almost a 5-star, and he may end up being a 5-star, but he's not. As you asked the question, he's not one right now, and that's Elijah Pritchett. I think he may be the number one offensive tackle in the country, coming from Columbus, Georgia. He's a kid that was fun to follow as far as entertainment because he was at one time a silent commitment to Florida State, Alabama, and even Georgia. So before going to Alabama, I think it's a very big win for the Alabama staff. You talk about his upside and what he is as a true left tackle. We know about Alabama's track, as developing offensive lineman, Evan Neal being the latest one, a future, likely top 5 pick in the NFL draft in 2022. And, Elijah's a guy that's going to be big time at Alabama. It may take some time for him to get developed physically, adding weight and strength and mass to his body, but he checks all those boxes, from the flexibility to footwork to athleticism to the reach. I think he's a guy that Bama fans will learn to love, if they don't already, over time.
When you look at the On3 team rankings right now, what's more surprising, Kentucky at 13 or Missouri at 14?
I would probably say Missouri. Just obviously we know what Stoops has done at Kentucky and just the consistency he's built there, and he's gotten some guys drafted in recent years. They've been more competitive in recent years. But I think what Drink's doing, at Missouri in this class, I think they're really in line for some big news later on today and keeping a top player in that state. DJ Wozolak, at home. I think it's LSU or Missouri right now. I'm leaning more towards Missouri, but I really like what he's doing with the local in-state talent. He's getting those guys to buy in, and you can go outside the state and get a kid like Sam Horn from where I live in Georgia, one of the top quarterbacks in the country, to come in and sling it around the yard for you down the road. And he just won a state championship. He's a baseball player. He's a leader. He's an athlete. So I really probably am more surprised about Drink and Missouri and what they're doing as far as signing a potentially a top 15 class this cycle.
Tell me about Brian Harsin and this Auburn coaching staff still looking for officially their offensive coordinator, but they seem to be having some success, especially this week on the back end of the defense. How much of that is Derek Mason? How much of that is Brian Harsin? And what do you think of this Auburn class?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it, obviously, on the back end. There's a big need there, in the secondary, and they've done a good job, addressing that. Obviously, I think the big one for me, just, right off the top, is Jadarian Rim from Valdosta, a longtime LSU guy. He's a guy that I saw actually in camp as a sophomore with no offers, made him the MVP of the DB group. And, we see what he's become now, a four-star talent going to the SEC. And I really love his upside. And you have, a guy like Austin Osbury coming from one of the top high school programs in the country at the ULab school right there in Baton Rouge. He's the LSU legacy. His father played at LSU. And I think Brian Kelly and that staff in LSU had some confidence coming into last weekend about getting him back on track with the home state, hometown team, LSU, but it didn't work. Auburn won out. So, I like what they're doing, especially on the back end. I love the quarterback, too, with Holden Gerner from Georgia, another kid who, won a state title like Sam Horn. I'm just talking about going to Missouri. Holden, put up monster numbers, last week in the state championship game in Georgia to lead Benedictine, his team, to a state title. But as far as Harsin and that staff, I think what Auburn fans have to watch closely right now is after this signing day or signing period is Derek Mason. He's a hot name with the Texas A&M defensive coordinator right now, maybe the prime target for Jimbo Fisher. There's a lot of rumors out there about Mason potentially ending up in College Station to work for Jimbo. So that's what I would watch if I'm an Auburn fan with the coaching staff the next few days.
I know you've got a lot to do, so you can be quick with these two answers, but the Farm Folio chat room wants us to ask you about two players. Pike Road, Montgomery, Curtis Perry. You guys have him number 75. What's your gut tell you for today?
I like Bama.
Okay.
I've liked Bama probably since, early season.
All right. And then Travis Hunter, your number one player. Apparently there are reports he is having second thoughts about Florida State, where he is committed. What's your gut tell you there?
Yeah, that's been a while in the last couple of hours. I mean, it's come out that it's just not a team you people would think, but it's Jackson State with Deion Sanders. Is a team potentially being talked about as far as where Travis Hunter, he's all about that brand. He had a documentary on YouTube. He's about making that money, and there's nobody probably better to partner up with than Deion Sanders if that's what you're thinking about. And, there's definitely some smoke to this. Will it happen? I do know in the last 30 minutes I've confirmed, he's still in communication with Florida State, and that is definitely nothing signed, nothing done, at least when I started this phone call, as far as Travis going to Jackson State. But it seems like right now that there is a threat potentially for Florida State, and it's with Deion Sanders and Jackson State for Travis Hunter.
Hey, Chad, we've never been naive. We know for years that people have cheated and money's been exchanging hands. But now with NIL, have you heard some specific deals? And you don't have to give us, names and programs, but, hey, you come to us and we've got a 7-figure deal waiting on you. How much of that is going on right now with recruiting?
Yeah, I haven't heard, taking your quote, 7-figure, but definitely 6-figure, stuff being tossed out. And, obviously, I think people are concerned about, where that money is coming from. Is it truly deals and truly whether it be partnering up with a Wendy's or a true business, or is it just going back to the old school ways of boosters giving kids money but using that, the NIL as maybe like a cloud or smoke to kind of cover that up. So, there's definitely some concerns and things going on that maybe, need to be ironed out as far as getting the details and paperwork in place for the NIL. I'm all about the kids getting, paid and benefiting from the schools making money on their name and their brand. But I want to see it done hopefully legally and properly, if we can even, get it down to that. It's going to be tough to, I think, monitor the NCAA.
All right, he is Chad Simmons. That is spectacular information from him at Chad Simmons _ at Chad Simmons _ on3.com. With On3 Sports, I'll have it covered for you all day. Chad, terrific job. We greatly appreciate the time.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right, take care. Chad Simmons with us on the Pepsi Hotline.